I pressed all the buttons, Ellie, so now I just need that you can hear me.
Yes, you're checking my script so I can go in there and record it and it'll sound good. I put it together here real fast. Brett, hey, from Mike, you need a close-up?
All right, we are getting a mic check, everyone. Thank you for being patient. All right, and we got the go-ahead, so let's jump right into it. Gosh, so much news today, locally and nationally. I'm Tori Cooper here at the First Alert Desk, and excited to be here with you this evening. Usually you find me on the weekends, but not tonight. You're going to find me on a Tuesday. So I'll be back out in the field tomorrow, but we have prepared a little update for you tonight, and I want to jump right into it. Let's start with the top story that everybody's talking about, shall we? Kevin McCarthy, Congressman Kevin McCarthy, has been in the headlines for the past 2 days because his party there's been several members of his party that have been unhappy with him for crossing party lines to avoid a shutdown. And essentially that's now catching up to him because today the House voted to oust him as Speaker of the House. This is a historic moment. Let's show you some video of Kevin McCarthy. You could see just a ton of people, reporters trying to get some answers from him. So like I said, this is a historic moment. This has never happened before. And he lost the vote today. He needed 218 votes from his Republican Party to keep his job as Speaker. And unfortunately, 8 Republicans crossed over and sided with Democrats to oust the Speaker. So now this means that really Congress is in a bad space, even worse than before, because now they can't get anything done without a Speaker. So now not only do we have just barely avoided a government shutdown, but now our Congress can't even pass anything. So this is really going to tie up the hands that make decisions for all of us. So this is a big thing that we've been following, and we just heard comments from him not too long ago, about 10 minutes ago, not even, probably about 8 minutes ago. He took a podium and addressed reporters, and he has said that he is not going to run again as Speaker for the House. Now, I'm just going to look down at my notes right now and just talk a little bit about some of the things that he mentioned during his address. He really talked about the fact that he doesn't have any regrets about the way he conducted himself as Speaker. He talked about the fact that he thought that this was an honor for him. He's actually from Bakersfield, California, and believe it or not, that's where I came from before I found my home here at Atlanta News First. I worked as a reporter in Bakersfield, and I met Congressman Kevin McCarthy, and he actually had the former president stop in Bakersfield, former President Donald Trump, because of his relationship with Kevin McCarthy. So now he talked about his time, being a Bakersfield native and how he came from a family that really worked their way up, and he was denied jobs as a young youth, or as a kid, and basically he says that he was denied an internship to work alongside a congressman, and he was able to end up being the 55th Speaker of the House. So this was an honor for him, but he said that essentially we are too divided right now as a country and as it comes to Congress for him to get anything done. And he says that most of all, he wants his successor, whoever that might be, to change the rules about what's required to vacate the Speaker. And because, as you just saw, that rule of what it requires to vacate the Speaker just worked against him. So he would like to see that rule change. He did mention that. And he did also say that he would endorse a successor eventually when one is named, but he did not say who that might be. He talked about the other hardline Republicans that voted him out, and he talked about their intentions, and he talked about the fact that he helped them get elected, and he says that's what he would do differently, as he wouldn't help these people. So really a lot came out of that press conference with former Speaker of the House, Congressman Kevin McCarthy. So now we'll dive back into some stuff locally now and talk a little bit about that. But that really was the big headline. We brought it to you as breaking news in our 4 o'clock, and we had more details from Capitol Hill at 5. So really we'll have some more on that later on in our newscast at 10 o'clock and at 11. So look for that if you want more depth from reporters on the ground in that area. All right, now let's move along to another story that is making headlines here. This was one of our top stories, and we had our reporter Patrick Quinn on this story. This relates to 2 men that were shot and killed by Atlanta Police Department officers. And now investigators have already said that this was a shooting that took place among police officers. And, this case, let me just pull this super up just so I can make sure that you guys are seeing it. That's not the right one. But the people that we're talking about are Johnny Hollowell and Ricky Dorado. I wanted to make sure that both of those names were pronounced right. So this has a backstory. This is two men that were killed by Atlanta police officers, according to investigators, and then family members of these two men went before City Hall, before our council members yesterday, and I actually got a call from the city saying, hey, City Council just passed a resolution saying that the full body camera should be released in both of these cases so that the public can see what happened. The family members made their case to City Council, and City Council is now asking both the Atlanta Police Department and Mayor Andre Dickens to do this. So that was the news last night. And then now we had a Citizens Review Board here in Atlanta speaking out today as it relates to Atlanta Police Department's decision not to release that video. They are standing by that. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens also shared some statements late last night after we shared that news. In our coverage, we made sure to include his statement. He did essentially say, look, I've already tried to see what I can do to get this video out. We want to make sure that this is, a transparent situation, but we have to make sure that we're not impeding on an investigation so that justice can be served. So we have police saying they're not going to do it regardless of what City Council says. Then we have the mayor saying, look, I'm trying to get this video out, but essentially I still have to make sure that justice is served and that I'm not impeding on an investigation. So now I'm going to let our reporter, Patrick Quinn, who is always an expert, pick it up from here.
62-year-old Johnny Hallman and 32-year-old Ricky Dorado, in two different incidences a year apart, died while being taken into custody by the Atlanta Police Department. And now the Atlanta Citizens Review Board is planning on opening their own investigations into these deaths.
Independent eyes saying, this is what we see, this is the evidence, this is where we stand on it.
Executive Director Lee Reed and the ACRB, around since 2007, helps keep tabs on the Atlanta Police Department, providing recommendations for policy and personnel changes. On Monday, the city settled with the Dorado estate for $3.5 million. I learned that money is coming from Atlanta's general fund, and the Hallman case is far from settled.
The mayor, he said transparency. Where is transparency? I'm angry.
At Monday's city council meeting, the family of Hallman called for the city to release the entire body camera footage from his death. Reed said the city made a mistake in showing the family a 5-minute portion last month.
When you release a part of it, you open yourself up for questions and criticism.
In the midst of our interview, City Council member Antonio Lewis suddenly showed up.
Well,
you could have kept walking.
Kept driving.
You could have kept
I
driving.
thought you were stopping for the interview because they were going to.
No, I was stopping to talk to you.
Lewis told Reed he's exasperated with how lengthy investigations, while understandably necessary, are hindering public transparency.
And so if I see him standing here talking to you and we got all this stuff going on, I need some, not answers, but I want to know which ways, how can we collaborate to grow? Because right now we're going at a pace and we're moving downwards instead of upwards.
So I actually had a chance to speak with Patrick Quinn after I watched his story on this, and I said, hey, did the council member interrupt your interview? He goes, absolutely not. He did not interrupt the interview. He had just been driving by and he saw me doing the interview, and he got out of his car and came over and was just curious about what was going on. And then once he realized what issue they were talking about, he wanted to talk to who Patrick was interviewing and just learn some more information about, his stance on it and how they can move these investigations along a little quicker. So anytime you see a council member engaging in an issue at hand that we are also covering, it's always great to share the moment. So I'm glad that he included that in his story, and it will be interesting to see if Atlanta Police Department changes their mind as it relates to these two investigations and the body camera video that they are calling on to be released. So we will keep a close eye on that. Now I want to shift gears again and head to Buckhead, shall we? This story caught my attention because this is not something that we hear in this part of Buckhead. This is near the governor's mansion, and today we're hearing that a jogger was attacked by two people. and he was also robbed at gunpoint. So just frightening stuff here. But I want to let our Adam Murphy take you through what he was able to gather in this investigation and from the people who were involved in this.
Just off West Wesley at Arden Road, homeowners are on high alert.
We want to be able to enjoy our street as much as anybody else in the city and not have people hiding in the bushes waiting to jump you.
According to an Atlanta police report, a man was jogging on Arden Road in Buckhead early Sunday morning when two people dressed in dark clothing jumped out from behind some bushes and chased after the jogger.
And to think that there are people out here waiting in the bushes to jump them is absolutely insane.
The jogger attempted to outrun the armed men, but was eventually tackled in the road. The incident report says the suspects went through the jogger's pockets and demanded his phone and property, but only got away with one of his Apple EarPods.
Everybody is very concerned. The crime in Buckhead is very real. I know that the powers to be think that it's perceived, but if you talk to the gentleman that got jumped and robbed at gunpoint, he will not tell you that he just perceived it. I think he actually kind of felt it.
Now, many homeowners living nearby want to know what Atlanta police intends to do about the crime, considering it was not captured on camera.
You just don't see any cops. We have our own personal security patrol that comes through and we see them, but I never see an Atlanta Police Department vehicle come down the street. And it's a shame.
We're hoping that maybe if enough neighbors see this, we will amp up our private patrol.
Residents very upset there. You can see they want to see a heavier police presence there, more security in the area, because things like this can happen anytime and anywhere. We know that. If you have lived in Atlanta, you know that it doesn't matter where you live. Crimes can really happen anywhere, and we can all fall victim to this at any time. So again, a hard reminder for everyone watching tonight, be aware of your surroundings. Even if you think you're in the safest place, just make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. One of my family members actually said that, it's best not to have headphones in when you are walking or maybe working out outside, because someone can come up behind you and can really harm you. And you just saw someone was running with their AirPods and someone jumped out of the bushes. Mind you, that is a very, intense situation that you're probably not expecting. But again, maybe run with one AirPod. I try to just have one earpiece in when I'm walking because you never know. So I'm just devastated that happened to someone who was just trying to get a workout in. But hopefully police can track down the person who did that, and so that this doesn't happen to someone else. All right, well, that's where we're going to leave things here tonight. But make sure you stick around because we will have more updates in our newscast. That's where you really get all of the fun. That's going to happen at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. And now we're going to talk about something a little bit brighter, shall we? Let's talk about the weather outside Truist Park. Let's look at it. There it is. Oh, God, the Bravos. They are officially in postseason play. And guess what? We're going to bring in First Alert meteorologist Patrick Pete right now. He's going to talk all about the forecast outside. Hey, Patrick.
Yeah, this is baseball weather. It feels amazing outside. We've had a nice little stretch of dry weather the last few days, and that's not going to change as we head through the next couple. So plenty of opportunity for you to get out and enjoy some of beautiful air out there. So good evening. Happy Tuesday. I just finished eating my tacos, shrimp tacos. Hopefully you had some too. The weather is amazing out there, 77 degrees, nice little breeze. It's calmed down a little bit, but it just feels amazing. And those numbers are going to slide into the 60s as we head through the overnight. So we're going to see another morning, much like what we saw today, where you step outside to numbers that are going to be in the upper 50s, low 60s. Atlanta's always that warm spot. We'll start off today at 64, but just up the road in Marietta, 60 degrees for a morning low, 59 in Cartersville, 58 in McDonough. A little bit cooler out in Carroll County. Folks starting off in the mid-50s. So a borderline chilly day, but listen, it's going to be dry as we head through the next couple of days. We're watching for this cold front that is going to eventually slide into the area as we head into the weekend. That's going to bring the low-end chance for some showers. And to be quite frank, this rain looks like it's going to move in Friday night, Saturday morning. So I think that you may get a little bit of rain on you in some spotty locations when you're stepping out Friday night, maybe leaving from wherever you're going. But I don't think it's going to be a cohesive line. It's not going to be thunderstorms. It just looks like a little bit of rain. And by the time you wake up Saturday morning, that line is pushing out. And we're going to actually see sunshine start to build in as we head closer to the mid-morning, heading into the afternoon Saturday. So I think that this is going to be a bigger talker about the change in temperatures. Let's get there. Let's first talk about tomorrow, which is going to be pretty sweet. Mid-60s as you're punching the clock, and I do expect to get into the 80s as we head into the early afternoon. So kids leaving school, we should be near 81 degrees, getting about to 83 for a high around 5 o'clock before we start to cool back down heading into tomorrow night. Another gorgeous evening. I think we'll see similar conditions for your Thursday. We're just going to throw in a few more clouds, and that's going to keep temperatures a degree or two cooler across the region. So struggling to get into the low 80s, but I think we get there Thursday. Those clouds all ahead of that cold front going to be marching into the area, but you can see that rain still stays way off to the west. I do expect those showers to move in during the evening hours Friday, and you can see it's not a cohesive line. That front pushes through, but that line, that front will be very moisture starved, so not a whole lot of rain, but a little bit. You can already see that by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We expect sunny skies across North Georgia. Going to be a gorgeous weekend after that rain in the morning hours. Temperatures, though, will be cooler both Saturday and specifically Sunday. We have a first alert for the Sunday temperatures because in the morning we're expecting you to start off the day in the upper 40s. It's been since the beginning of May that we've had a cool morning like that in the city, and that 49 degrees is for us here in Atlanta. And remember on that map a few minutes ago I showed you how Atlanta was about 4 or 5 degrees warmer than everywhere else around us? Yeah, so that doesn't change. Urban heat island all seasons, a little bit warmer, but that also means that when it's cold, locations outside of the city are going to be a few degrees cooler. So we'll not be surprised to see some low to mid 40s on that map for the start of your Sunday morning. And while that rain isn't going to be a big deal, I do think the fact that you're going to have at least a light jacket on when you step outside, we think that that's cause enough to let you know that it's going to feel different. And you're going to want to keep that momentum going into the start of the work week because Monday's morning is going to be equally as cool. I don't know if you do the rotation of the closet thing. I do because, I got a lot of hoodies and stuff. I put them higher in the winter, and then in the summer I put the hoodies higher in the summer, and then in the winter I have to bring them down and throw the shorts up there. This is going to be that time. This is going to be that week to go ahead and kind of get that done. Help make the kids do that after they do their homework after school or whatever the case may be, because you will notice that change heading into Sunday morning and specifically Monday morning for the kids at the bus stop. We do think Sunday will be the coolest afternoon. We'll recover into the low 70s by Monday, and we'll see temperatures trend into the mid to upper 70s for highs on Tuesday. So lots going on with that. We're also keeping an eye on the tropics. We're going to have a brand new update for you tonight on Peachtree TV at 10, so you can tune in there to get a look at what we have going on there. Otherwise, I'll leave you with the 7-day forecast so that you can plan ahead, and we will catch you in about an hour and 30 minutes.